you're so scared of something only because you don't know, and I felt like that was only going to make me grow as a person if I forced myself into something that made me feel so uncomfortable.
Yo, it's Pavin. I'm leaving LA right now, heading to Laguna Beach. I'll see you soon.
My name's Torrealba, and I'm a professional skimboarder based in Laguna Beach, and I'm also a filmmaker. So yeah, I mean, this spot's been pretty cool to be able to just have like all my stuff out before. I've been moving every year just based on me coming to California and really just trying to find my flow and where I'm going to stay. So it's nice to be able to have all my stuff up here. Skateboarding is always my go-to, whether it be winter, summer, or just in between skimboarding. I have everything right here whenever I need to leave, although a lot of stuff's always in my car. All my boards in here, kind of prepared for anything. This is my weapon of choice. This is my first pro model skimboard that I've ever got, and it was a huge accomplishment to be able to have that relationship with my sponsor and to be able to just have that overall. I feel like that's every athlete's kind of dream, and for me it's just kind of earning it the way that I wanted to, and wanting to make sure that I earned my part here in California and progressed, and it came at a good time. It's awesome. This thing's been really nice. Yeah, so this beach was like one of the first beaches that I feel like I started to learn how to really ride waves properly. Able to give me a good practice ground to really make it happen. Any day, you know, even if it's not that good, it's just good to practice, because usually when you have contests, it's not the best conditions, it's not the conditions that you hope for. So you gotta practice whenever you can. Naturally drew me to be on a board would be skateboarding and stuff. When I was younger, pretty much I would always be hanging out in my driveway, either playing basketball or just trying to practice ollies with my skateboard. And eventually when I was able to go to the beach more as I got older, that's kind of when I started surfing and then picking up skimboarding, just kind of flatland. I didn't really know that you could ride waves like out here in California until YouTube and social media came out, and then I was like, holy crap, like skateboarding and surfing is so combined when it comes to skimboarding. It's almost like you're doing a little bit of both, and I just got so addicted to it once I started skimboarding. I'd say it's hard to say, because especially me coming from traditional sports and playing basketball, it's like I had that light and that excitement when I played basketball, but there was something about skimboarding that is just like a total package. It's kind of being one with yourself in the environment that you're not in control of. Is really that moment of like catching a wave, is the amount of work that it would take for that wave to come through at that moment in time. You know, that wave came from the middle of the ocean, you know, and the way you realize the swells work, and just being in tune with the ocean is just huge for me. Trying to find that balance of going out there, getting skim clips or getting any sort of clips to tell a story, getting back and, you know, using that energy and that hype to kind of review everything. I like to go over the photos or go over the videos and kind of just see what I have, whether I'm making a YouTube episode, whether I'm making just a short little clip. And sometimes we come home with like some pretty dope like epic fails or like really good waves, and I just like can't wait to get back and edit. Even for photos sometimes, just because I started on photo before video, it's been really cool to continue to go back and enhance my craft at photography and editing and things like that, and getting into pretty much like reliving the day is really the coolest thing for me, and how that works with skimboarding. And my creator side is just, you know, always striving to make myself a better skimboarder through, you know, getting that content and then coming home and reviewing it, and then really figuring out, you know, how can I improve as a skimboarder, but then also how can I improve as a content creator. I was always just so like passionate about sports that sports was always the only thing as a little kid I would think of. Like, I want to be a pro skateboarder. I want to be in the WNBA. But when I started to realize that this like expression of photo and video really like drove home the way that I felt about the sports, it became like a whole other element, and it almost became more important for me because I would go out there, especially in Florida, as I was learning. It was huge for me to make sure that I had a camera filming me, because I would go back home and I would watch the footage and I'd be like, what did I do wrong? You know, like what, like, but then I would also look sick because I was seeing my style develop, and then going over all this footage, even now, like looking back 5 or 6 years ago, I'm like, holy crap, like this is how much I've progressed or learned about skimboarding. And not only that, just being a creator. It's taught me so much to be able to work with my own footage and be, you know, basically everything from the director to the producer to the editor, because it teaches you, you know, so much more about not only skimboarding, but like I said, just creating and kind of learning yourself as well. And I was working at a Radio Shack, managing a store, managing all these employees for like 7 years, and it was kind of one of those things where I feel like I was going in circles, and I was just constantly working all around the state, and there wasn't getting many waves in Florida. Anywhere you travel, anywhere you go, you kind of just face the same sort of scenery. So eventually I just kind of felt like I wasn't progressing, and I kind of felt like I plateaued out there. So talking with my sponsors and really just eventually taking that step, I kind of had to drop my life. I dropped everything. I had to sell everything that I had. I didn't get rid of the dog, where I basically just had to get rid of my whole life and move out here, you know, whether it was relationships, whether it was, you know, people that I knew and my family. I kind of just had to make that decision for myself to pack up my bags. And, you know, whatever I could fit in that car, I just took and I ran with it. I barely stopped. I drove, you know, all the way through the night with my friend, and you know, we just made it here in probably like less than 40 hours. And I came to an empty room and I was just like, crap, what did I do? You know, I just dropped my whole life for this. So that was kind of the beauty in it all. Is what was bittersweet was there's no going back, really. It was my mindset, and I made this move, and I committed to myself, and I invested in myself, and I wasn't going to turn around.
So many people like aspire to do a jump like that. How did you deal with like the fear element of throwing yourself into the unknown?
The number one thing that made me kind of make that jump was knowing that that fear was so in place that it was almost like a punch in the face. It was like, you're so scared of something that you don't know about that it almost made me force myself in that decision. I just remember signing a lease, not wanting to sign a lease, like deep down. And I was like, dang, like, is this gonna be the right move? And the more and more I asked myself that, I was just like, it doesn't matter, because you're so scared of something only because you don't know. And I felt like that was only going to make me grow as a person if I forced myself into something that made me feel so uncomfortable, because it had been on my mind since I was 21, and I didn't end up moving out to California until I was 25. So ever since then, my life has completely changed. The heart and mind is the constant battle. The mind is going to tell you, you know, strive for that money, strive for that job, you know, get out there and, you know, everybody wants to be a millionaire, and how do you get rich quick? And, you know, that mentality in your mind, you light up when you hear opportunities given to you, and you light up when you hear just things that are just like, you know, sold to you in the world. And this was a reminder to myself to trust and be with my heart, and really realize the difference between my heart and my mind, and that ultimately what I feel in my heart and what I love is going to take me way farther than anything that I'm just going to get, you know, hyped on quick on a mental thought, or just like following that. But it's also the battle of making sure that you know where to put your passions in place and be smart with your mind. I have a few other tattoos that are like kind of like subtly hidden but visible, and that's kind of like my personality in a sense, to where like you'll see me front face, but there's always so much hidden, and it's cool that my tattoos are kind of similarly hidden. I'd say if anyone is aspiring to especially pursue their passions and live off of them, is to never stop working and never stop thinking about the time and how they use it. It's just a mindset that I've always had, is like every day that I woke up and I was just like, where am I going? What the hell am I doing? I just reminded myself that, like, all right, take the next hour and do something productive. Like, what can you do? And there's been plenty of times that I'd want to go out with my friends and I'd want to watch Netflix and I'd want to do all this stuff and just didn't care about anything other than what can I do with this time and how can I actually move the needle, because usually you don't know where you want this goal to be and where you want to end up, but all these steps in between can be just a blur. But if you just keep moving that needle, at least you'll know that you're moving towards what you need to do. And eventually what ends up happening is it could take you in a completely different direction, which happened in my life. As a little kid, I still have a piece of paper or a picture I wrote down in a book that, what do you want to be when you're older? And I said I wanted to be a professional skateboarder. And here I am now as a professional skimboarder, and I don't even think I knew what skimboarding was when I wrote that sentence. So I think that as long as you keep moving and you keep pushing towards what is making you happy, that you can't really go wrong.